On a freezing logging road in the wilderness, my son shoved me out into the mud. Rolling down the truck window, he sneered, "Stay here and freeze to death, you useless old woman. The old man's inheritance belongs to us now." They sped away, leaving me with a shattered knee and no phone. I grabbed a sturdy branch, struggled to my feet, and pulled an old two-way radio from my jacket pocket. 3 days later, my son and his wife froze in terror when... Welcome to Silent Revenge with Auntie May. I'm so grateful you're here. Before we begin, drop a comment and tell me what city or country are you watching from. I love knowing who's in this community. This story contains fictional elements crafted for entertainment and reflection. Any similarity to actual names or places is coincidental, but every lesson in it is worth keeping. The engine sound faded around the bend, swallowed by the pines, and then there was nothing. Just wind. Just silence. Just me. I counted to 30 before I let myself understand what had happened. 30 seconds. That was how long it took for 65 years of being someone's wife, someone's mother, someone's neighbor to get stripped down to nothing but a woman sitting on a wet rock on a logging road in the middle of the Oregon wilderness with no phone, no bag, no way home. My name is Rowena Caldwell, and my son just left me here to die. I didn't scream. My throat locked up too tight for that. Instead, I pressed both palms flat against the cold surface of that rock and focused on breathing short, sharp pulls of mountain air that tasted like pine sap and something metallic like the inside of an old toolbox. Cyrus always said I could identify any smell in any forest in Oregon. He said it like it was something to be proud of. Cyrus. My chest cracked open just thinking his name. He'd been gone 8 weeks. 8 weeks since the hospital room, since the machines, since I held his hand and felt the exact moment it stopped squeezing back. 8 weeks since Thaddeus and his wife Mercy had shown up at my door with suitcases and soft voices and that particular kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. "We just want to take care of you, Mom," Thaddeus had said. I believed him. God help me, I believed him. I should have listened when Cyrus told me 3 weeks before the end, his voice already thin as paper. Rowena, Thaddeus isn't a bad man, but Mercy, I'm not sure about that woman. He'd squeezed my fingers when he said it. His knuckles were yellow from the medication. "Promise me you'll be careful." I'd smoothed his blanket and told him not to worry. I was a fool. The signs had been there. Mercy asking about the will the week after the funeral, her voice gentle, almost concerned, like she was doing me a favor. "You really should update everything, Rowena. These things get complicated." Thaddeus borrowing my ATM card to grab groceries, never bringing it back. The camping trip proposed 2 days ago out of nowhere. Mercy insisting the mountain air would do me good, help me grieve, clear my head. And this morning, I'd worn Cyrus's old forest jacket. Force of habit. Every cold morning for 20 years, I'd reach for that jacket, the one he wore when we did logging work together up in the Cascades. The one that still smelled faintly of sawdust and machine oil no matter how many times I washed it. There was a radio in the right pocket. A two-way radio channel 6, the channel Cyrus and his best friend Abner Holloway used for 40 years, whenever one of them was driving back late through the forest roads. I hadn't taken it out. Mercy had grabbed my purse, grabbed my phone, but she hadn't checked the jacket pockets. That was the first mistake they made. We had parked at the trailhead. The trail dipped immediately into soft ground rain from the night before, had turned the path into a ribbon of mud between the pine roots. Mercy walked ahead, Thaddeus behind me. About 100 yards in, Thaddeus said he'd forgotten something in the truck. Before I could turn around, his hand came down hard on my shoulder. Not a push exactly, more like a shove that had been disguised as steadying me on the uneven ground. My bad knee went sideways on the mud, and I went down fast, both palms hitting the wet earth, my right leg folding under me at an angle that sent white heat screaming up into my hip. "Careful, Mom," Thaddeus said from above me. His voice was completely flat. "Ground slippery." I looked up. He wasn't reaching down to help me, neither was Mercy. I heard the truck doors close. Both of them. "Thaddeus." I got one hand under me, pushed up onto my knees. The mud was cold and black and smelled like pine rot. "Thaddeus, wait!" The engine turned over. I dragged myself upright, one hand grabbing a pine trunk, and stumbled back toward the road just in time to see the truck reversing out of the trailhead. I stepped into the gravel and raised my hand like I could stop it with my palm. The truck stopped. For one terrible second, I thought he'd changed his mind. Then the passenger window rolled down all the way down, and Thaddeus leaned across Mercy, his face something I had never seen on him before. Not anger. Colder than anger. "Stay here and freeze to death, you useless old woman," he said. His voice was flat and even like he was reading from a list. "The old man's inheritance belongs to us now." The window went back up. The truck pulled away. I stood at the edge of the gravel with mud on my palms and my hands still half raised and watched the taillights disappear around the bend. My knee throbbed in a way that told me something had shifted in the fall. Not broken, I thought, but damaged in a new way, on top of everything that was already damaged. I sat down at the side of the road, pressed both hands against my knee, and listened until even the sound of the engine was gone, and there was nothing left but wind in the pines. My knee, the one I'd injured in a fall last November, the one the doctor said needed 6 more months. Now the mudfall had driven it sideways, and the pain was a different kind, sharper, deeper, the kind that made me wonder if I was going to be able to stand again at all. I stood up. It took me 4 tries. The first attempt, my knee buckled and I went back down hard palms, scraping gravel, a sound tearing out of my throat that was half grunt, half something I didn't have a name for. The second try, I made it to a crouch before the pain flared so bright my vision went spotty at the edges. The third, I got upright for 3 seconds before I had to grab the nearest pine trunk and hold on like it was the only solid thing left in the world. The fourth time, I stayed up. I snapped a branch off the pine dry about shoulder height, thick enough to hold my weight. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped it twice. But I gripped it, planted it in the dirt, and took my first step. The pain was extraordinary, electric, the kind that makes you understand on a very basic level why animals caught in traps sometimes chew through their own leg to get free. I took another step anyway. Cyrus used to say, "You get lost, follow the water. Creeks run downhill, downhill leads to roads, roads lead to people." I thought he was being dramatic when he said it. We were experienced. We knew these forests. We didn't get lost. But I'd filed it away anyway, the way you file away things said by someone you trust completely. I found the creek 20 minutes in, followed it east using the stick, stopping every 100 yards to let the pain ebb enough to keep moving. I fell, once went down on my bad knee on a root hidden under wet leaves, and the sound that came out of me echoed off the trees and sent a pair of ravens bursting out of the canopy above. I knelt there in the mud for a full minute, pressing my forehead against the cool bark of a fallen log, breathing through my teeth. "Get up, Rowena," I said out loud. My voice sounded strange in the quiet, ragged, old. I got up. It took nearly 2 hours. The light was going orange and thin through the pines when I finally saw it, a yellow glow through the trees, warm and steady. Abner's workshop, sitting right where it had sat for 30 years at the edge of the Forest Service road, half a mile from the county highway. My legs were trembling so badly that the last 100 yards felt longer than everything before it combined. But I kept my eyes on that light, and I put one foot in front of the other, and I made it to the door. I raised my fist to knock, and the radio in my pocket crackled to life. Thaddeus's voice clear as a bell. "You sure she didn't have her phone on her?" Then Mercy smooth and certain. I checked the purse. "Relax, it's done." I stood there with my fist raised and my heart slamming against my ribs, and I did not knock. Not yet. I pressed my back against the wall beside the door, and I listened, and I understood they had no idea I could hear every word. A slow, cold thing moved through me then. Not fear, something quieter than fear, and much more dangerous. I knocked. The door swung open before I finished knocking. Abner Holloway filled the frame 6'2", built like a man who'd spent 50 years lifting engine blocks and fence posts with hands the size of dinner plates and a face that had been weathered by 4 decades of Oregon winters into something that looked carved from the same wood as the mountains behind him. He was 70 years old and he looked every bit of it, and he was still the most solid thing I had ever seen. He looked at me, took in the mud, caked to my knees, the blood dried brown against my denim, the branch I was using as a cane, the way I was shaking from cold and pain, and something that hadn't decided yet whether it was rage or grief. "Lord Almighty Rowena," he said, his voice dropping low, "get in here." He didn't ask what happened. He didn't demand an explanation or stand there gaping. He just stepped aside, one big hand coming out to grip my elbow, steady, firm, the way you hold something precious that's about to fall, and guided me through the door. The workshop smelled like motor oil and sawdust, and the ghost of 1,000 cups of coffee burned on a hot plate. It was the smell of Cyrus almost. Close enough that my throat closed up and my eyes burned, and I had to press my lips together hard to keep from making a sound I couldn't take back. "Sit," Abner said, pulling a stool out from under the workbench. I sat. My bad knee throbbed so viciously that the moment my weight left it, I let out a breath that was more sob than exhale. Abner was already moving first aid kit from the cabinet above the sink. Warm water from the kettle. He kept going on the hot plate year-round. He knelt in front of me without a word and started cleaning the gash on my knee with the careful, unhurried focus of a man who'd patched up worse in places with fewer supplies. "Cyrus asked me to watch out for you," he said quietly, not looking up from his work. "Said it the last time I saw him, 3 days before he passed." His jaw tightened. "Said he was worried." My voice came out cracked and raw. "He told me not to worry about Mercy. He told me the opposite." The gauze stung going on. I didn't flinch. I was too busy trying to hold myself together to feel something as small as pain. "Abner," I said. "They left me in the forest. They took my phone. My voice broke clean in half. I pressed the back of my hand against my mouth, and for 10 seconds I shook with something that wanted to be crying, but couldn't get all the way out. Then I dragged in a breath and kept going. "I think they filed the insurance claim already. Cyrus's policy, the one that pays out if I couldn't finish the sentence." Abner's hand stilled on my knee. He looked up at me then, and what was in his face wasn't shock. It was something harder and older than shock. It was the look of a man who'd suspected and hoped he was wrong. "How much?" he said. $240,000. He held my gaze for a long moment. Then he stood up, crossed to the far workbench, and pulled open the bottom drawer. He set a tablet on the bench in front of me. An old iPad, the screen scratched at one corner in a rubber case the color of a fire truck. "Cyrus left this here," Abner said. "Last fall when he got too sick to come out to the shop anymore. We used it to keep an eye on your place. He'd call me up on the landline and we'd pull up the cameras together, make sure everything was all right." His voice roughened at the edges. "He said if anything ever happened to him, anything bad, I was to give it to you." My hands trembled so badly I could barely unlock the screen. But I remembered the password without thinking our wedding anniversary, the way Cyrus used it for everything. The app opened. 4 camera feeds appeared. The living room, the front porch, the backyard, Cyrus's study. And there was Thaddeus standing in the middle of Cyrus's study with every drawer pulled open, rifling through papers with both hands, while Mercy stood in the doorway pointing and directing like she was supervising a loading dock. A sound came out of me that I didn't recognize, low and tight, like something tearing slowly. "That's my husband's desk," I said. "He built that desk himself, 30 years ago. He built it and he refinished it twice and he sat at it every single night of our marriage." Abner put his hand on my shoulder, heavy and warm and steady. "Tell me what you need," he said. The landline on the wall rang the old rotary phone Abner had kept since 1987 because he said push buttons felt dishonest. He answered it, listened for 2 seconds, then held it out to me. "Lavinia," he said. Lavinia Marsh, my neighbor for 30 years, whose kitchen window looked directly into my front yard, who knew every car that parked on our street and every face that came and went, who I had called my dearest friend since before either of our husbands got sick. Rowena. Her voice cracked the moment she heard mine. Rowena, honey, where are you? That truck came back an hour ago and they've been hauling boxes in ever since, and I called your cell 6 times, and are you all right? Tell me you're all right. I'm all right, I said. The words felt like a lie and the truth at the same time. I'm at Abner's. I'm safe. She made a sound like a woman who'd been holding her breath for hours, finally letting go. Oh, thank God. Oh, Rowena. Then fiercely, what do you need me to do? Right now, keep watching. Call Abner's landline if you see anyone leaving anything being loaded into that truck. Can you do that? Honey, I have been watching that house since 6 o'clock this morning, and I am not going anywhere. A beat. My niece Delia is visiting. She's staying with me this week. She's in law school up at Eugene. I just want you to know that in case it's useful. I filed that away without knowing yet how useful it would turn out to be. When I hung up, Abner was standing at the workbench with 2 mugs of coffee, looking at the iPad screen with an expression I'd never seen on his face before, something between grief and fury, held very, very still. So, he said, what's the plan? I wrapped both hands around the mug. The heat soaked into my palms, and I felt for the first time since that logging road something that wasn't pain. We watch, I said. We document everything, every mistake they make, and they will make mistakes. Abner, people like them always do. We let the cameras catch it. We don't move until we have enough to bury them. He nodded slowly. Then he reached into the tool cabinet and pulled out a second 2-way radio, same model as the one in Cyrus's jacket pocket, same channel stamped on the casing in black ink. Channel 6. He set it on the bench beside mine. Cyrus bought those as a pair, he said, 38 years ago. Never could get me to throw the spare out. I picked it up, turned it over in my hands. My chest ached so fiercely I pressed my fist against it. He thought of everything, I whispered. He thought of you, Abner said. Same thing. I didn't sleep so much as collapse. Abner had made up the cot in the back room, the one he kept for nights, when a repair job ran past midnight and it wasn't worth driving home. A wool blanket, a pillow that smelled like cedar, and a window that looked out at the dark tree line. I lay down with every intention of staying awake, of watching the iPad screen all night, of being vigilant and sharp and ready. I was out inside 4 minutes. When I opened my eyes, pale Sunday morning light was pressing through the window, and Abner was already at the hot plate, and the smell of coffee was so strong and so ordinary that for one merciful half-second, I forgot everything. Then I remembered. Morning. Abner said, not turning around. He had a way of knowing when a person woke up. Cyrus used to say Abner had ears like a barn owl. Camera's been quiet. They're still in there. I sat up, wincing as my knee announced itself with fresh enthusiasm. Give me the iPad. He handed it over with my coffee. I pulled up the 4 feeds. Living room Thaddeus asleep on my sofa with his boots still on one arm thrown over his face. Kitchen Mercy at my table, scrolling her phone, a cup of coffee she'd made in my kitchen, with my beans steaming in front of her. The sight of it made my back teeth clench so hard my jaw ached. He's comfortable, I said flatly. People who don't feel guilty usually are, Abner said. 20 minutes later, the banking app on the iPad sent a notification that made me set down my coffee cup very carefully so I wouldn't throw it. Attempted withdrawal. Declined. Mill Avenue, ATM 8, 14 a.m. Then another. 8:24 a.m. Declined. Then a third. 8:35 a.m. Declined. He's at the ATM on Mill, I said. 3 tries in 20 minutes. Abner looked up from his newspaper. Which card? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I pulled up the account details, traced the transaction codes, and then I understood. And despite everything, Despite the cold and the knee and the fury sitting like a stone in my chest, I felt something loosen in my face. In the second drawer of Cyrus's desk, there was a yellow envelope. Cyrus had written backup on it in black marker, and underneath in smaller letters, laundry. But that second word had been rubbed nearly invisible over the years by Cyrus wiping his oil-stained hands on whatever was nearest. Only the L and the trailing Y were still legible. Cyrus had been the most organized man in 3 counties. He labeled everything, every drawer, every box, every envelope. I used to tease him about it, called him the most documented man in Oregon. He'd just smile and say, "You'll thank me someday, Rowena." Today was that day. He found the backup envelope. I told Abner. He thinks it's a secret account card. It's a prepaid laundry card. There's maybe $3.50 left on it. Abner stared at me for a long moment. Then his phone buzzed on the workbench. He read the text and handed it to me without a word. It was from Orson Briggs, who ran the only pawn and consignment shop in town right across the street from my house, and who had played chess with Cyrus every Saturday morning for 25 years, and who had sat beside Cyrus's casket the entire night before the funeral without anyone asking him to. The text read, "Thaddeus is at the Copper Nail, ordering scotch. Brought 3 friends. Somebody's celebrating." I read it twice. The Copper Nail was the most expensive bar in town. 18-year scotch ran $40 a pour. "Tell Orson to keep watching," I said. Abner typed. We waited. 11 minutes later, Orson's next message came through. Card declined. He tried twice. "Friends are looking at the floor. Thaddeus just walked out without saying a word. Face like a boiled beet." Abner read it aloud. Then he looked at me over the top of his phone with an expression that on any other face might have been called a smile. On Abner, it was just a slight easing around the eyes, but I knew what it meant. "Orson's a good man," I said. "Best chess player Cyrus ever lost to," Abner said. By mid-morning, Lavinia called the landline. She called the landline because she'd memorized Abner's number 30 years ago, and she still didn't entirely trust cell phones for important conversations. "Rowena," she said the moment I picked up, "Mercy is in the backyard with that notebook of Cyrus's, the brown leather one he kept in his desk. She's been out there 20 minutes just measuring things, looking at the ground." My stomach dropped. "Which notebook?" "Brown leather, little brass clasp on it." I knew exactly which one. Cyrus kept every maintenance record for the house in that notebook, plumbing diagrams, electrical maps, service dates. And on page 31, a hand-drawn diagram of the backyard utility layout with a large red X marking the septic system clean-out access point. Cyrus had drawn that X so he'd never mistake the location again after a repairman charged him $400 to find it in 2009. "Lavinia," I said carefully. "Is Delia home?" "She's right here eating cereal. Why, ask her to keep her phone handy tonight. She might want to point it out her window at some point." A pause. Then Lavinia's voice dropping to a delighted whisper. "Rowena Caldwell, what are you planning?" "Nothing," I said. "I'm just watching." At 8:15 that evening, a flatbed truck pulled up in front of my house. 2 men climbed out and unloaded something from the back compact yellow hydraulic arm, folded against its body like a sleeping insect. A mini excavator. Abner appeared at my shoulder, looking at the camera feed. "She found the X," he said. "She found the X," I confirmed. My voice came out steadier than I felt. "Abner, that red X on page 31 marks the septic system clean-out. Not buried treasure. Not a safe. The sewer line access." Abner was quiet for exactly 3 seconds. "Lord," he said. "Let them dig," I said. The excavator started up at 9:15. I know because the motion sensor on the backyard camera triggered an alert on the iPad, and I was sitting right there at Abner's workbench when it happened, both hands wrapped around my 3rd cup of coffee, watching the screen like it was the only television channel left in the world. Thaddeus was in the cab. He'd done construction work in his 20s before the gambling, before the debt, before Mercy, and apparently he still remembered enough to operate a mini excavator in the dark with a flashlight duct taped to the roll bar. Mercy stood 6 feet away in my garden, holding Cyrus's notebook open under the beam of a headlamp strapped to her forehead, pointing at the ground like a general directing artillery. "She looks like she's done this before," Abner said from behind me, not sounding particularly surprised. "She's done everything before," I said. "That's the frightening part." The bucket arm swung down. Bit into the lawn Cyrus had seeded and fertilized and mowed with that ridiculous riding mower every summer for 30 years. I felt each pass like a small punch to the sternum. And then, at 9:47, according to the camera timestamp, the bucket hit the septic line. I knew the exact moment it happened because Mercy jumped back 3 full feet and Thaddeus came out of the cab like the seat had caught fire. Even through the camera's microphone, even through the tinny iPad speaker, I could hear the neighbor's dog start barking on both sides of the fence. Abner made a sound in his chest. Not quite a laugh. Something more controlled than that, like a laugh that had been through hard times and come out quieter. "Cyrus drew that X to mark the clean-out access," I said. "After a plumber charged him $400 to find it in 2009. He was furious about that for 6 months. "I remember," Abner said. "He complained about it every Saturday for half a year." "He would have hated this," I said. My voice dropped without my permission, went soft at the edges. "He loved that yard. He planted every one of those roses along the back fence. Took him 3 summers to get them to take." "I know he did. He's not here to see what they're doing to it." Abner put his hand on my shoulder the same way he had the night before, heavy and certain. "He left you here instead," he said quietly. "That counts for something." It counted for everything. I just couldn't say so out loud without coming apart at the seams. My phone buzzed Abner's landline, ringing over to my borrowed cell. Lavinia, breathless. "Rowena, the smell is coming through my closed windows. Mrs. Patterson next door just texted me. She thinks there's a gas leak. Delia is standing at her window right now with her phone pointed straight at your yard. Should I tell her to stop?" "Tell her to keep going," I said. "Tell her to make sure the timestamp is visible on the video." A pause. Then Lavinia whispering with barely contained delight, "Rowena Caldwell, you are something else." I hung up and turned back to the screen. Mercy and Thaddeus were standing in the middle of the ruined backyard arguing. I couldn't make out the words, but I didn't need to. The body language said everything. Thaddeus gesturing at the excavator, at the notebook at Mercy. Mercy pointing back at him with one finger the way she always did when she was assigning blame. The headlamp on her forehead swung back and forth with each movement, throwing wild shadows across the torn-up grass. It was almost midnight when Thaddeus went inside and found the utility room. I watched him on the camera, flashlight in hand, moving through the dark house, stopping in front of the access panel on the utility room wall. It was a plain metal cover, flush-mounted, easy to miss if you didn't know what you were looking at. Cyrus had installed it himself to cover the main valve cluster for the house's gas and water systems. On the shelf beside it, exactly where Cyrus always kept it, sat the T-handle utility key. Brass heavy, shaped like an oversized Allen wrench. Cyrus used it for everything: meter boxes, valve stems, clean-out caps. Thaddeus picked it up and turned it over in his hands. "Abner," I said. "He's in the utility room." Abner set down his coffee and leaned over my shoulder. Thaddeus pried off the access panel. Behind it, a recessed metal stem with a square socket head, the main gas shut-off valve for the entire house. In the dark, with a flashlight and no knowledge of home systems, it would look exactly like a lock. He inserted the T-handle, turned it, hard, all the way. He just locked the main gas valve. I said. "Hot water's gone?" Abner said immediately. "Heat too if they've got radiant floor. What's the temperature tonight?" I checked my weather app. 39 degrees Fahrenheit, going down to 34 by morning. I opened the smart home app on the iPad. Cyrus had set it up 3 years ago. Thermostat, door sensors, the works, all linked to the same account as the cameras. I logged in with the master password, navigated to the climate control panel, and set the system to eco mode. 61 degrees, locked. Then I went to the network settings and changed the Wi-Fi password to something Thaddeus would never guess in 1,000 years. The cameras themselves ran on a separate cellular connection Cyrus had insisted on, said he didn't trust a single point of failure, so changing the Wi-Fi wouldn't touch the feeds. I could still see everything. They could see nothing. On camera, every screen in the house went dark simultaneously. The thermostat panel on the living room wall flashed red twice, then displayed a single word, error. Mercy came downstairs wrapped in my grandmother's quilt, the one that had been folded on the cedar chest in the bedroom for 20 years, and started jabbing at the thermostat panel with both index fingers like she could fix it through force of will. The panel said, error again, and again. Abner's landline rang. Lavinia. The lights in your house just went out. All of them at once. What on earth is happening over there? System malfunction, Abner said, picking up the extension. Very complicated technical issue. Abner Holloway, you are a terrible liar, and I mean that as a compliment. When I turned back to the screen, Mercy had given up on the thermostat and was sitting on my sofa with the quilt around her shoulders, staring at nothing. The headlamp was still on her forehead, casting a pale circle of light on the wall. Thaddeus came in from the hallway, said something. She didn't look at him, just pulled the quilt tighter. For one moment, just one, I felt something shift in my chest that wasn't anger. She looked exhausted in a way that went deeper than one bad night. She looked like a woman who had been running towards something for a long time and was only now beginning to understand what it was going to cost her. Then I remembered Mercy's voice on the mountain road. With that knee, she won't make it half a mile. I closed the app and set the iPad face down on the workbench. Get some sleep, Abner said. Tomorrow's going to be a full day. Why? I asked. He picked up his phone, turned it to show me the screen. Craigslist. A listing posted 40 minutes ago from a username I recognized as Thaddeus's email handle. 1970. Wheel horse riding mower. Classic. Family piece. $500. Need gone fast. My breath left my body in one long, slow exhale. Cyrus had driven that mower home from a machinery auction in Medford in 1987. 20 miles of mountain highway, grinning the entire way. How much is it worth? Abner asked. $12,000, I said. At minimum. Abner nodded once, put his phone in his pocket. I know a guy, he said. Abner was on the phone before the coffee finished brewing. I heard him from the back room, voice low and unhurried the way it always was. Abner Holloway had never once in his life sounded like anything was urgent, even when it was. He was talking to someone named Danny, and from the one-sided conversation I could piece together, Danny owed Abner a favor that dated back to a transmission rebuild in 2019, and Danny had a truck, and Danny was available this morning. I came out pulling Cyrus's jacket around my shoulders and stood in the workshop doorway listening. Cash deal, Abner was saying. 500. Craigslist listing posted last night. You go, you pay, you bring it straight here. Don't explain anything, don't ask anything, just buy it and go. A pause. I'll explain later. Just trust me. He hung up and turned around, saw my face. Sit down before you fall down, he said. Your knee looks worse this morning. My knee is fine, I said, which was such an obvious lie that Abner didn't even bother responding to it. He just pointed at the stool and waited until I sat. I pulled up the camera feed while he poured the coffee. Thaddeus was in the kitchen, my kitchen eating cereal out of my good ceramic bowls, the ones Cyrus and I had bought at a craft fair in Ashland the summer before he got sick. Mercy was on the phone, pacing the living room floor in tight little circles, one hand pressed flat against her sternum, the way she did when she was agitated. She's worried, I said. She should be, Abner said, setting a mug in front of me. No, she's genuinely scared. Look at her. I turned the iPad so he could see the feed. Mercy's face, even through the grainy camera, was tight and pale. The carefully maintained composure she usually wore, stripped away by a bad night and no heat. In the beginning, I thought of the understanding that things were not going the way she'd planned. She thought this would be simple, get me out of the way, collect the insurance, sell the house. Neat and clean. And instead, she's got a blown septic line and a frozen house and a husband who can't operate an ATM. Abner said, "Exactly." I wrapped both hands around my mug. I almost feel sorry for her. I thought about the mountain road, about Mercy's voice, flat and certain. With that knee, she won't make it half a mile. About Cyrus's notebook being paged through with greedy fingers in the dead of night. "No," I said. "Not really." At 9:40, Lavinia called. "Rowena." Her voice had that particular quality it got when she was trying very hard not to sound excited and failing completely. "There is a folding table in your front yard. Mercy just carried out 3 cardboard boxes and a plastic tub, and she is setting up what appears to be, and I want to be precise here, a yard sale." My grip tightened on the phone so hard my knuckles ached. "What's in the boxes?" "I can't see from here, but I can see the corner of something that looks like your grandmother's quilt, the blue and white one. The blue and white one. The one my mother-in-law Eleanor had pieced together by hand from Cyrus's childhood shirts, 1 square at a time over the course of 3 winters. The one I had never once let anyone borrow, had never once washed in anything but cold water, by hand had kept folded in acid-free tissue in the cedar chest for 16 years. "Lavinia," I said, and my voice came out shaking in a way I hadn't let it shake since I left that logging road. "I need you to do something for me. Anything. Call the ladies from First Methodist. Call your garden club. Call anyone who can get to my street in the next hour. Tell them there's a yard sale." I paused, breathing carefully. "Tell them to bring cash and to buy everything they see. Everything. Don't let anything leave that yard in a stranger's hands." A sound came down the line, something between a gasp and a laugh. "Oh, Rowena. Can you do it? Honey, I've been waiting 30 years for someone to ask me to mobilize the garden club for something that actually matters. Give me 20 minutes. She hung up. I set the phone down and pressed both fists against the workbench and breathed until the tightness in my chest loosened enough to think. Abner watched me without speaking, which was exactly the right thing to do. "She's selling Eleanor's quilt," I finally said. "I heard. Eleanor made that quilt from Cyrus's baby clothes." My throat constricted around the words. "He showed it to me on our 3rd date. He was 31 years old, and he showed me this quilt, and he said, 'My mother made this, and someday I'm going to give it to someone who will keep it forever.' I thought he was the strangest man I'd ever met." I stopped, pressed the back of my hand against my mouth for a moment. "I married him 8 months later." Abner reached across the workbench and squeezed my hand once briefly, the way men of his generation express things they didn't have words for. By 10:15, the garden club had arrived. I watched through the front porch camera 7 women led by Lavinia in her good walking shoes with Delia a half step behind her, holding her phone at what I recognized as a deliberate recording angle. They descended on the folding table with the focused energy of people who had been given permission to do something they'd wanted to do for a long time. Mercy stood behind the table in a fleece I'd never seen before, probably bought with my debit card. I realized and watched the women arrive with an expression that started as welcoming and shifted over the course of about 90 seconds into something more wary. Bless her heart, as they say in this part of the country. She had no idea what was coming. 25 cents. I heard Mrs. Opal Crawford say loudly, holding up Eleanor's quilt with both hands like she was inspecting it for damage. Opal was 80 years old and had been the most fearsome negotiator on the county quilting circuit for 4 decades. "It's got a pulled thread on the corner." "That's a handmade heirloom quilt," Mercy said, voice clipped. "It's worth $200 minimum." "I'll give you 50 cents for it," Opal said, not missing a beat. "Final offer." Through the camera feed, I watched Mercy's jaw tighten. She took the 50 cents. Item by item, the garden club worked through every box on that table. Lavinia paid $1.25 for the photo albums. Someone named Paulette got 3 of my good casserole dishes for 75 cents total. Delia. I noticed filmed each transaction with the quiet efficiency of someone who understood exactly what she was building toward. When it was over, Mercy counted the money into her palm. $11.30. I know because Orson texted Abner from across the street. Just watched her count it. She looked at it for a long time. Then she went inside and closed the door hard enough to rattle my front window. Abner read it aloud. I felt something release in my chest that had been clenched since that mountain road. Not joy exactly, but something adjacent to it. The particular satisfaction of watching a very precise thing go exactly as planned. Then Danny pulled up in his pickup with a 1970 wheel-horse riding mower in the bed, painted the same faded green it had been the day Cyrus drove it home, grinning from the auction in Medford. I stood up too fast and had to grab the workbench. "Easy," Abner said. "I'm fine," I said. I wasn't fine. My knee was on fire and my eyes were burning and my hands were shaking. But I walked out into that yard and I put my palm flat on the side of that mower and I held it there for a long moment. 37 years. Same green paint. Same worn seat with the crack along the left side that Cyrus always meant to patch. "Hi," I told it, which was a ridiculous thing to say to a lawnmower, but I said it anyway. Danny's truck pulled away around noon and I stood in the yard for a long moment after it left my hand still resting on the side of the wheel horse. "Come inside," Abner said from the doorway. "You're limping worse than this morning." "I know what I'm doing." "You're standing in a gravel yard talking to a lawnmower." "I know what I'm doing," I said again, but I went inside. I settled back at the workbench with the iPad while Abner made sandwiches the kind he'd been making since the 80s, white bread and deli turkey and yellow mustard. Nothing fancy, the kind of food that kept you going without asking anything of you. Cyrus used to say Abner's sandwiches tasted like reliability. I understood that better now than I ever had before. The afternoon camera feeds were quiet at first. Thaddeus was in the living room on his phone, hunched forward with his elbows on his knees, the posture of a man waiting for calls that weren't coming. Mercy had disappeared into the back of the house. Then at 2:17, the backyard camera picked up movement. Thaddeus came out carrying something from the kitchen, a large white-papered package from the chest freezer in the utility room, frost still clinging to the edges. He set it on the patio table and started unwrapping it. I leaned forward. The package had Cyrus's handwriting on it, black marker block letters, "Summer Cat." The middle had been obscured by freezer burn and condensation. Over the years, the ink faded to near nothing between those two words. I knew exactly what it was. My hand flew to my mouth. "Abner," I said, and something in my voice made him set down the sandwich knife and come over immediately. "What?" "That package. In Cyrus's handwriting, "Summer Cat." I turned to look at him. Every July, Cyrus drove out to the Rogue River to fish for catfish. He spent 3 days every summer doing nothing but sitting in a folding chair on the riverbank and— "I know," Abner said. "I went with him twice. Terrible hobby, beautiful river." He made his own bait, chicken liver and fermented pork liver mixed and left to cure for 2 weeks in a sealed container. I watched Thaddeus unwrap the package on the patio table with the eager hands of a man who believed he was about to cook a premium cut of beef. He made a batch last July, said it was the best he'd ever done. He was so proud of it. Abner stared at the screen for a moment. Then he looked at me. "He's going to grill it," Abner said. "He's going to grill it," I confirmed. "In front of company." Mercy texted someone this morning. I saw the notification flash on the thermostat display. She's invited people over. We looked at each other. And then, for the first time since that mountain road, for the first time since I'd sat on that wet rock and counted to 30 and understood what my son had done, I laughed. Not a polite laugh, not the controlled kind. A real one, the kind that starts somewhere deep and comes out before you can stop it, the kind that makes your eyes water. Abner's shoulders shook. He pressed his lips together hard and looked at the ceiling, which was his version of laughing. "Cyrus would have loved this," I managed. "Cyrus," Abner said, carefully still looking at the ceiling, "would have paid money to watch this." By 3 o'clock, 4 of Thaddeus's friends had arrived. They set up lawn chairs on my patio, the chairs I used for summer evenings with Lavinia, and cracked open beers from my refrigerator, while Thaddeus fired up the charcoal grill with the confidence of a man who thought the evening was finally turning around. The catfish bait hit the grates at 3:12. I know the exact time because every camera on the property triggered motion alerts simultaneously at 3:19, when the neighbors on both sides opened their back doors to investigate the smell. At 3:22, Mrs. Patterson next door could be seen on the edge of her property, waving a dish towel at the air. At 3:25, all 4 of Thaddeus's guests stood up from their lawn chairs. At 3:28, they were gone. Orson texted from across the street, "I can smell it from here. What in the Lord's name is that man cooking?" Abner texted back, "Cyrus's catfish bait. 2-week cure." 3 seconds later, "God rest Cyrus Caldwell's soul, and God help everyone within half a mile." I was still smiling when the next alert came, in this one from the indoor camera, the living room feed. Thaddeus had come back inside face tight with humiliation and was standing at the fireplace mantel, running his hands along the edge of the decorative molding, searching for something. His fingers found it at the left end, a slight gap, a recess behind the wood trim. He reached in and pulled out a small velvet box the size of a ring case, sealed with a strip of electrical tape. Written on the tape in Cyrus's block lettering, "Diamond." Thaddeus stared at it for a full 5 seconds. Then he grabbed his car keys. "Abner," I said, watching him back out of the driveway on the front camera. "Call Orson." Abner already had the phone to his ear. I heard him say quietly and without preamble, "Orson, Thaddeus is coming to your shop. He's got a velvet box with diamond written on it in Cyrus's hand. What's inside is a diamond dressing tool, industrial grade, used to true up grinding wheels. Cyrus bought it in 1995. It is not jewelry. It is not valuable. You have never seen a happier man walk in and a sadder man walk out." A pause. "Yes, exactly. Handle it however you like." He hung up. I was watching the front camera, Thaddeus's truck pulling onto Mill Avenue heading toward downtown. "That tool cost $230 in 1995, I said. "Cyrus kept it in that velvet box because he said good tools deserve to be treated well." "He said that about a lot of things," Abner said. "He did." My chest ached with the particular pain of remembering someone who'd been gone long enough that the memories had started to feel like borrowed light, still warm, still real, but coming from somewhere you couldn't reach anymore. He kept it in that box for 30 years, and he never once explained what it was to anyone who asked. Said it was more interesting to let people wonder. 20 minutes later, Orson called instead of texting, which told me everything before he said a word. "I used the loop," Orson said, and even over the phone I could hear him working very hard to keep his voice neutral. "Told him it was a diamond dressing tool, industrial, scrap value, maybe $8. A pause. He stood at my counter for about 15 seconds without saying a single word. Then he put the box back in his pocket and walked out. Another pause. "I've seen a lot of people leave this shop disappointed, Rowena. That boy looked like he'd been told the earth was flat." "Thank you, Orson." "Don't thank me. Thank Cyrus. That man," Orson said, voice going rough at the edges, "had more quiet jokes in him than anyone I ever knew. I miss him every Saturday morning." I had to set the phone down after that because my throat had closed completely and I couldn't trust my voice. Abner didn't say anything. He just refilled my coffee and pushed it across the workbench, and I held it in both hands until the heat soaked in and the tightness in my chest loosened enough to breathe. Outside, the sun was going down behind the tree line. The workshop light made everything gold and small and safe. It wasn't over. There was still everything ahead of us, the police, the lawyers, the long, careful work of reclaiming what was mine. But sitting there in Abner's workshop with Cyrus's coffee mug in my hands and his best friend across the workbench from me, I felt for just a moment like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Then the camera feed flickered. Living room. Thaddeus was home, and he was heading straight for the utility room wall. Before I reveal what she did in the dark that night, drop "I'm here" in the comments. I need to know you're still listening. This next part changes everything. A few details ahead are fictional, woven in for storytelling. If you'd rather step away, this is your moment. Otherwise, stay close." He went straight for the utility room. I watched on the iPad as Thaddeus moved through the dark house with his flashlight, pushed open the utility room door, and stood in front of the access panel on the wall. He stood there for a long moment, just staring at it. Flashlight beam fixed on the metal cover, and something in the set of his shoulders told me he was starting to understand that the evening was not going to improve. He tried the T-handle again, turned it the other direction this time, both hands straining. The valve was already locked. He'd done that himself the night before, and no amount of turning was going to change that without a plumber and a full morning's work. He threw the T-handle against the wall. The clang of it came through the camera microphone, thin and distant, but I heard it. "He's figured out the gas isn't coming back on tonight," I said. "Cold house, no hot water, no Wi-Fi, no money." Abner came to stand behind me looking at the feed. "How long do you think before he does something stupid?" "He's been doing something stupid every 4 hours since Saturday," I said. "I'd give it 2. I was wrong. It took 40 minutes. At 9:51, Thaddeus went into Cyrus's study. He moved differently in there than he had in the other rooms, slower, more deliberate, the way people move when they're searching for something specific instead of just ransacking. He opened the desk drawers one by one carefully this time, went through the filing cabinet, checked behind the framed map of the Cascades that had hung on the wall since 1994, and then he saw it. On the corner of the desk, exactly where Cyrus had kept it for 38 years, where it sat every single evening of our marriage, the two-way radio, Channel 6, same battered black casing, same silver antenna, with the slight bend in it from the time Cyrus dropped it off a ladder in 2003. Thaddeus picked it up, turned it over, set it back down. He didn't know what it was for. To him, it was just an old radio, one more piece of the clutter he'd been sorting through for 3 days. He walked out of the study and left it sitting there. I exhaled slowly. "It's still on the desk," I told Abner. "I can see that. The channel's set to 6. Abner picked up his own radio from the workbench the twin of Cyrus's bought at the same time, never separated for 38 years, and checked the display. "Channel 6, he confirmed. I looked at the clock on the iPad. 10:47. "Abner," I said, "tell me about the last time Cyrus used that radio." He was quiet for a moment, set the radio down on the bench and crossed his arms looking at the middle distance, the way he did when he was being careful with a memory. "October," he said finally. 2 years ago. He drove out to check on the east property line after that windstorm knocked some trees down. Got back late past dark. I was here in the shop waiting." He paused. He came over the radio at 9:30, said, "Abner, I'm 10 minutes out. All clear." And I said, "Copy that, Cyrus," I said quietly. "Abner confirms safe." He looked at me. "He said it every time," I said. "Every time he came home late from anywhere. 40 years. My voice was steady, but my hands were not. They were pressed flat on the workbench, because if I lifted them, they would shake. After he got sick, he couldn't drive anymore, couldn't go out, and the radio just sat there, on the desk. I couldn't move it. I kept thinking he was going to pick it up again. The workshop was very quiet. Outside, wind moved through the pine trees with a sound like breathing. He thought of everything. I said. The iPad, the cameras, the money in the chair. He knew Abner. He knew something might happen, and he made sure I had what I needed. My throat tightened around the words. He couldn't protect me himself anymore, so he left me the tools to do it. Abner unfolded his arms, picked up the radio, held it out to me. "Then use them," he said. I took it. The plastic casing was warm from the workbench light. I turned it over in my hands the way I had 1,000 times before in the kitchen, passing it to Cyrus when he was heading out, receiving it back when he returned. "What do I say?" I asked. "Whatever you need to say." I pressed the transmit button. My voice came out low and even and absolutely certain. "Thaddeus, this is Mom. I'm coming home." For 3 seconds, nothing happened on the camera feed. Then Thaddeus shot up off the couch like he'd been burned. He spun toward the desk, toward the radio sitting in the corner of Cyrus's study, where he'd left it, and his face in the flashlight beam was something I will not forget for the rest of my life. Not just fear. Fear was there, yes. His skin had gone the color of old chalk, and his mouth was open, but underneath it, in the set of his jaw, and the way his eyes moved, was something that looked like a man finally understanding the full weight of what he had done. Mercy came running in from the hallway. She grabbed his arm with both hands. What was that?" "The radio," Thaddeus said. His voice had dropped to something barely above a whisper. "The radio on the desk, that's impossible." I heard her, Mercy. He was staring at the radio like it might speak again. I heard my mother's voice. Mercy looked at the radio, looked at Thaddeus, and then she did something I had never once seen her do in 8 years of knowing her. She grabbed his hand, her composed and calculated face crumpling into something raw and frightened and very young. "We have to go," she said. "Right now. We have to go right now." Mercy. Thaddeus. Her voice cracked straight down the middle. "We have to go." He moved. They both moved. I heard the frantic sounds of it through the cameras, even before I saw it. The thuds and scrapes of people grabbing what they could reach in the dark, the clatter of something knocked off a shelf, footsteps on the stairs. The front door opened. The porch light, still on the smart system, still under my control, stayed dark. 2 silhouettes crossed the front yard. A truck door, an engine, headlights sweeping across the front of my house as they reversed out of the driveway. Then the red taillights disappeared around the corner onto Mill Avenue, and the street was empty, and the house on Maple Ridge was dark and still, and mine again. I set the radio down on Abner's workbench very carefully. For a moment I couldn't speak, not because I was frightened or triumphant or any of the things I might have expected to feel, but because I was thinking about Cyrus picking up that same radio on a cold October night, 2 years ago, 10 minutes out, all clear, and Abner's voice coming back, "Copy that. Abner confirms safe." And then, without any warning at all, I put my face in my hands and I wept. Not quietly. The kind of crying that has been waiting for 3 days to come out, the kind that shakes your whole body and takes your breath in great uneven gulps and doesn't care at all about dignity. Abner put his hand on my back and kept it there. He didn't say a word. He didn't need to. When it finally passed, I lifted my head. My face felt raw and my chest felt hollow and oddly unexpectedly clean. "He would have said something terrible and comforting right now," I said. Something that made no sense and meant everything. "He would have said, 'Abner confirms safe'?" Abner said very quietly. I laughed, wet and broken and real. "Yeah," I said, "he would have." I slept 4 hours and woke up feeling like someone had wrung me out and hung me to dry. The cot in Abner's back room had done what it could, and what it could do wasn't much, but 4 hours was more than I'd managed the 2 nights before, and I was grateful for it in the way you're grateful for small mercies, when the large ones are still outstanding. My knee had stiffened overnight into something that felt less like a joint and more like a rusted hinge, and getting upright required both hands on the cot frame and a level of determination I hadn't needed since the logging road. Abner was already at the workbench. Coffee made iPad open a plate of toast on the stool beside him. Abner's phone buzzed on the workbench before I'd finished my first cup. He read the screen, then turned it toward me, a text from Orson sent at 6:42 Mercy's car in the lot across from my shop. She's been there since 6:15. Phone to her ear, writing things down. Hasn't moved. She's regrouping, I said. I lowered myself onto the second stool and pulled the iPad toward me. The house on Maple Ridge was quiet on every camera, no movement, no lights. The front yard still showing the muddy tire tracks where the excavator had been brought in and taken out. "They didn't come back," I said. "No, they haven't gone far." I studied Mercy's body language from the previous night's footage, the way she'd grabbed Thaddeus's hand, the crack in her voice. Fear like that didn't drive people out of state. It drove them to a motel on the highway where they could regroup and think and make phone calls to people who owed them favors. "She's planning something." "Then we move first," Abner said. A knock at the workshop door, 3 sharp raps, the kind that meant business. I opened it and found Delia Marsh standing on the step with a laptop bag over one shoulder, a thick manila folder under her arm, and the particular expression of a 24-year-old who had been awake since 4 a.m., doing something she believed in. She was Lavinia's height, but built lighter, with her aunt's same dark eyes and a directness in her gaze that reminded me unexpectedly of Clara Weston, though I didn't know Clara yet at that point. I would. "Mrs. Caldwell," Delia said. "I've been putting this together since Monday night. Can I come in?" I stepped back from the door. She spread everything across Abner's workbench in organized sections, moving his coffee mug aside with a brief, apologetic glance. Security camera footage time-stamped labeled "exported to a USB drive." The yard sale photographs every transaction documented Mercy's face, visible in each frame. The bank records showing 3 failed ATM attempts. The text message Thaddeus had sent from my phone to Lavinia the afternoon I was left in the forest, sent at 3:47 p.m. from a device registered to my account, from a location that was not the Forest Service road. That last one is the important one. Delia said, tapping the printout, "Oregon Revised Statutes, 165-800 Identity Fraud. He used your phone to impersonate you. The cell tower data will show the message was sent from your house, not from where you were." She looked up at me. "Which means they have no alibi for where you actually were." "How do you know all this?" Abner asked, not skeptically, genuinely. "Third-year law at Oregon," Delia said. "Elder law clinic. We see this more than you'd think." She paused. "My professor is going to love this case. I mean that as a compliment." Before I could respond, Lavinia called the landline, her voice coming in breathless and strange. "Rowena, there is a truck in front of your house. Not Thaddeus's truck, a different one. A man just carried Cyrus's armchair out the front door and put it on the curb." My heart stopped. "The brown leather one," I said, "the one in the corner of the living room." "Yes, he's got a dolly. It looks like Rowena. I think they called a junk hauler." I set the phone down. My hands were shaking so badly that I knocked it against the edge of the workbench and didn't notice. Abner was already on his phone. I heard him say one sentence. "There's a leather armchair going out of 412 Maple Ridge right now. I need it picked up before it leaves the curb. Yes, now." He hung up, looked at me. "It'll be here in 20 minutes, he said. I pressed both hands flat on the workbench and breathed. The chair. Cyrus's chair, the one he'd sat in every evening for 30 years, the one that had the exact impression of him worn into the leather, the one I hadn't been able to sit in since the day he died, because sitting in it felt like standing in a doorway he'd just walked through and finding nothing on the other side. 3 weeks before he passed, he had reached for my hand in the hospital and said very clearly, with the particular focus he got when something mattered, "Rowena, remember the chair." I'd thought he meant keep it, sentimental. One of those things people say. 22 minutes later, a pickup pulled into Abner's yard. 2 men carried the chair through the workshop door and set it in the center of the floor. It was exactly as I remembered. Brown leather worn soft at the armrests, a crack along the left side of the seat cushion that Cyrus had always meant to have repaired and never did. It smelled of him machine oil and cedar, and something underneath that I had no name for, the particular scent of a person that stays in fabric long after they're gone. I stood in front of it for a long moment. Then I took the box cutter Abner held out to me and I knelt on the floor, my knees screaming in protest, and I ran the blade carefully along the seam at the base of the chair through the dust cover, stapled to the bottom of the frame. Inside a folded canvas pouch, thick and heavy. I opened it on Abner's workbench. 6 American Gold Eagle coins, 1 ounce each, a roll of bills held with a rubber band, 20s and 50s, the kind of cash a careful man sets aside over decades against the possibility of a day when banks are closed, or cards don't work, or the world goes sideways in ways that can't be predicted. and a note small folded twice in Cyrus's handwriting. For the day you need it most, you'll know when. C. I read it 3 times. Then I folded it and put it in the pocket of his jacket against my chest, and I did not cry. Not because I wasn't close to it, but because I had something to do, and Cyrus had known that too. He'd left me tools, not just comfort. He'd trusted me to use them. Delia, I said, turning around. How long would it take you to organize this into something a police detective can read in under 10 minutes? Delia looked at the spread of evidence on the workbench, at the camera footage, at the bank records, at the text message printout, at the canvas pouch. It's already organized, she said. I finished it at 5:30 this morning. I looked at Abner. He handed me Cyrus's jacket from the hook by the door. I'd left it on the workbench the night before, and I put it on, and I zipped it up to my chin. Then take me to the sheriff's department, I said. Deputy Sheriff Clara Weston was 45 years old and had the kind of face that gave nothing away for free, not warmth, not skepticism, not surprise. She met us in the lobby of the county sheriff's office on Elk Street, looked at me for exactly 2 seconds, and said, "You're Rowena Caldwell." "I am," I said. "We had a missing persons report filed on you Wednesday morning." She said it the way you state a fact rather than ask a question. "Filed by your son." "I know," I said. "I'd like to talk to you about that." She held the door open. "Come on back," she said. "I've got time." Clara Weston's office smelled like old coffee and printer paper. She sat across from me with a yellow legal pad, clicked her pen once, and set it flat on the desk, the gesture of a woman who listened before she wrote anything down. "Start from the beginning," she said. "Not the forest, before that." So I did. Cyrus dying. Thaddeus and Mercy arriving with suitcases and soft voices, the ATM card that never came back. The camping trip proposed 2 days before it happened, the moment the truck engine started and moved away through the trees and didn't come back. Clara didn't interrupt once. When I finished, she pulled Delia's folder toward her and went through it methodically until she reached the cell tower data on the identity fraud printout. Something tightened around her eyes. "The missing persons report," she said, "filed Wednesday morning. 4 days after your son drove you into that forest, and the insurance claim was already filed the day before that." She set the paper flat. "They filed for the money before they reported you missing." "I know," I said. She looked at me for a long moment. Then she picked up her phone and dialed an extension. "I need a property protection order drafted for 412 Maple Ridge. Get me the DA's line. Yes, today." She hung up and looked at Delia. "You put this together?" "Yes, ma'am. Oregon law, 3rd year." Clara nodded once. "Under Oregon revised statutes, 124/60. She said, turning back to me, "Abandonment with intent to cause harm combined with the fraudulent insurance claim and identity fraud. We're looking at multiple felony counts. This is going to be uncomfortable for a while before it gets better. I spent 2 nights in a forest with a bad knee and no water," I said. "I can manage uncomfortable." Something shifted in her face, not quite a smile, but the architecture of one. "I believe you," she said. 7 days later, I walked into Harney County Courthouse wearing Cyrus's jacket and my good boots. The civil hearing ran parallel to the criminal investigation. Clara had opened property rights. The insurance claim, the financial accounts, both processes moving simultaneously, each feeding the other. I saw Thaddeus in the hallway outside courtroom B. He was wearing the jacket I'd given him for his birthday 3 years ago. Charcoal gray, good wool, and he looked smaller in it than I remembered. Not physically. The particular diminishment that happens when the story a person tells themselves stops holding together. He saw me. Stopped walking. "Mom," he said. His voice came out too small. The voice of someone much younger than 42. "Don't," I said, not loudly. We thought." He stopped, started again. "I need you to know that we didn't mean..." "Thaddeus." I turned to face him fully, kept my voice the way I'd kept it when I told him his father was dying, when I told him his grandfather was gone. You left me on a logging road with no phone, no water, and a knee that hadn't healed in 6 months. You filed an insurance claim before you filed a missing persons report. I paused. Don't tell me what you thought. His jaw worked. His eyes were red at the rims. Mercy appeared at his shoulder, and for the first time in 8 years of knowing her, her face held no calculation, no composure, no careful performance. Just a woman who had run very far towards something and arrived to find it was nothing like she'd imagined. We made mistakes, she said. You made choices, I said. Those are different things. Her hand found Thaddeus's arm, not the commanding grip she usually used, but the reflexive reach of someone who needed something solid to hold on to. Her chin trembled once before she pressed her lips together and forced it still. Delia touched my elbow from behind. They're ready for us. I looked at Thaddeus one last time, at the jacket I'd given him, at the face I'd known since before he could walk. Your father, I said, would have been heartbroken. I walked into courtroom B and didn't look back. The hearing took 40 minutes. The judge, a woman in her 60s with reading glasses pushed into gray hair, reviewed Delia's documentation in focused silence. When she looked up, she looked at me. The property protection order is granted, effective immediately. All financial accounts revert to sole ownership of Rowena Caldwell. The insurance claim is flagged pending criminal investigation. She removed her glasses. Mrs. Caldwell, off the record, you did well. I thanked her. I meant every word of it. Abner was parked on Elk Street when I came out, the old green pickup idling at the curb patient, unhurried exactly where I needed him to be. Lavinia was in the passenger seat. She'd called him the moment the hearing started and made him drive her downtown, which was exactly the kind of thing Lavinia Marsh had been doing for 30 years. She rolled down the window. Her face crumpled the way faces do when relief finally gets permission to show itself. Well, she said. It's done, I said. She pressed both hands over her mouth and made a sound that was mostly not crying. Abner nodded once the way he'd been nodding at important things for 40 years, and that was enough. On Maple Ridge, I asked him to stop at the end of the street. Orson was standing in front of his shop, hands in his jacket pockets, watching. He raised one hand when he saw the truck, not a wave, just the gesture of a man who had been keeping watch and was glad to be relieved of it. I walked the last half block alone. The key was where it always was, under the ceramic frog by the porch steps, the one Cyrus had bought at a church sale in 2004, because he said it looked distinguished. I unlocked the door and stepped inside. The house smelled wrong in the way houses smell when strangers have lived in them, but underneath it, faint and persistent, was the smell I knew. Wood smoke and cedar and machine oil and 38 years of a life built carefully, room by room. Abner had sent someone ahead. The brown leather armchair sat in its corner by the window, exactly where it had always been. Late October, light falling across it, golden and nearly horizontal. I sat down. The leather received me the way it always had, warm from the light, worn soft in exactly the right places, shaped by 30 years of the person I had loved most in the world. I put my hands on the armrests right where his hands had rested 10,000 times. I'm home, Cyrus, I said. Outside, a car passed on Maple Ridge. Someone's dog barked twice and stopped. The ordinary sounds of an ordinary afternoon settled back around me like something I had earned. I stayed in that chair until the light was gone. I don't tell this story for pity. I tell it because someone out there is handing over pieces of themselves, one quiet yes at a time, and doesn't yet know they can stop. Don't do what I did. Don't wait until you're on a cold logging road to decide your life is worth fighting for. Family drama like mine teaches you the hard way blood does not guarantee loyalty. I've seen family betrayal dressed as concern, wrapped in soft voices. These are the revenge stories with mom nobody puts on a greeting card, the grandma stories that happen behind closed doors, the family story that ends not with rage, but with a woman in her husband's chair finally home. What saved me wasn't anger. It was Cyrus's quiet preparation, loyal friends, and the steady grace of God carrying me through those trees when I couldn't carry myself. Family justice doesn't always look like a courtroom. Sometimes it looks like a key under a ceramic frog in a door that's finally yours again. That's the family drama worth surviving. These revenge stories with Mom remind us you are never too old to reclaim what is yours. True family justice begins the moment you decide you matter. If this family story moved you, comment, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe so you never miss what comes next. Thank you for staying with me until the very end. Stories on this channel contain fictional elements crafted for reflection and inspiration. If this isn't for you, we understand. Find the content that speaks to your heart.